You may be struggling with pushing out content as a content creator, and you don't just want to create any old content. You're way too smart for that. You want strategic content that can actually grow your creator business. Great news, it's more simple than you might think. Millions of people are taking their expertise and turning it into profit, and it's possible for you too. You are an amazing content creator, and you're a creator to your very core. And you're going to take that expertise of yours and turn it into profit. You just need the steps. And once you know those steps, the steps that I'm going to teach you today, you're going to rinse and repeat them all the way to the bank. I'm here to help you do just that. I got you, girl. Today's video is about creating content, and the steps that I'm going to teach you today are based on how to create that content using what I like to call the 3 T's of content. And here's what we'll cover. We will cover what you do before you start creating, then we'll cover the 3 T's of content, and then I'll break down each type of content with an example just so you'll know exactly what it looks like. So let's start with what you definitely need to do before you dive into these 3 T's of content. I am begging you to do this before you dive into the 3 T's of content. And that is answer 2 questions for me. The first question is, who do you help? And the second question is, what do you help them do? Once you finalize and you are really sure about who you help and what you help them do, you are more than welcome to dive in to the 3 T's of content. The 3 T's of content are tips, tools, and tutorials to achieve a goal or solve a problem or bring them to their happy place. Now, depending on where you are in your content creation, is going to decide which one of these you want to start with. Now, you may not be at the point to where you're ready to write a whole tutorial, but you got tips. So we'll start with the tips. Now, tips are bite-sized pieces of information that you provide for your audience that can lead them to a big win. It's not big chunks of information. It's just enough content. It's not a lot of information, but it's valuable information. It doesn't have to be a lot to be good. Content that is comprised of tips does not have to be a lot to be valuable. Tips are usually in a list designed as a listicle. A listicle is simply a list of information. The next type of content is called tools. Now, tools are a bit different from tips. A tool can be a little bit more interactive. In other words, when you provide your content in the form of a tool, it's something that your audience can work with, interact with, use, put to work, put to use, and maybe not just read through. Tools are highly effective because it puts your audience to work. They interact with the tool and get in motion as they interact with the tool, doing the thing that the tool instructs them to do. Now, the next type of tool is a tutorial. This is probably the most lengthy piece of content because a tutorial gives a series of step-by-step instructions. Now, the step-by-step instructions that are provided in a tutorial can be implemented on various platforms. A tutorial can be in a workbook form. A tutorial can also be a video, kind of like what I'm doing right now, guiding you through step-by-step on how to do something. The tutorial is a great piece of content to do that. Now that you know a tip can be a list and a tool can be an interactive piece of content, and a tutorial can be a step-by-step guide, let's pop over to my screen and I'll show you exactly what each one of those looks like. So the first example that I'll share with you is the tip example. This is an example that was created in Canva. Now, before I dive in and show you around this tips type of content, just be very clear that if you use Canva to create anything, to publish anything, be sure and very clear about the rules and regulations of using this platform, not just with Canva, but with any platform that you use to create things. At least understand the rights of use for any program you use to create. Okay, with that said, let's take a deeper dive into this type of content that fits in the tips category. This content provides tips for a healthy eating meal plan. Now, if you take a look, there are all different types of tips of what you should eat for breakfast, what you should eat for lunch, what you should eat for snack. And notice how there is not loads of content for each meal. Remember, tips are not long form content. Tips are bite-sized pieces of information that make a big impact. Content number 2 for the 3 T's of content is the tool example. Now, in this second type of content, the tool type of content, notice on the screen how the information is more in depth. As a matter of fact, not only do tools give you more in-depth information, but tools are interactive. When I created this tool, I made sure that my follower who snagged this tool can actually take key steps based on the thing that I say they can do using this tool. Now, the third type of tool, and usually the most lengthy, is a tutorial. Now, I explained earlier that a tutorial can be on various different types of platforms, and I shared with you 2 specific types. One way is a video tutorial, and in this example, notice how this particular tutorial is a workbook. And in this workbook, it literally gives an in-depth amount of information. It reads like it is teaching you content by breaking down the content with various types of information inside of the content. Let's look a little further to notice more elements that will make it a tutorial. Not only does it have in-depth content, not only does it have graphics to support the content, but it has something else. In this particular tutorial, has chapters to segment the content or categorize the content. Now, there are tips inside of this particular tutorial. A tutorial can have tips and it can have tools. When you get to the level of wanting to create a tutorial, you're going to want to include in-depth content, but you can also include graphics. You can also include tips, which are bite-sized pieces of information to support the larger amount of content. So a tutorial is more in-depth, and it spreads that information with various types of information inside of the content. So now let's talk about your next step. How are you going to put this information in motion in real time? Well, let's start with this. What kind of content do you want to put out first? Are you a tips person? Are you a tools person? Or are you at the tutorials phase of your content creation? Let me know in the comments where you fit and add any questions that you may have, and I'll reply to as many as I can. Now that you know the 3 T's of content, and you might be settled on which type of content you're ready to publish, the very next step is to decide what you want to do with that content. Creating the content is a very big step, but once you have the content, now what? Well, next you're going to decide how you're going to put that content to use. Let me show you what I mean. I'll show you how to do just that in the Boss Lady community. Take a look. So now that we're here in the Boss Lady community, there's a space called Check Your Business Vital Signs. And it's a place where you do your business checkups. Just like you go to the doctor to get checkups, just like you go to the doctor and they check your vital signs for your health, you check your business health, you check your vital signs for your business health here in the Boss Lady community. So in the Boss Lady community, I talk about the 3 T's of content. And in these 3 T's of content, in this section, the one thing that my members are going to be able to do, pertinent information that is in this particular post is what to do with that valuable piece of content that you created, whether it be a tip, a tool, or a tutorial. Remember, I said that you have to decide what you want to do with that valuable content that you publish. Well, you can use the 3 T's of content in 3 ways. You can use the 3 T's of content as a lead magnet. And if I click on this link, that'll take me straight to the tips content in our resource vault. Any one of my members can use and modify and publish for their audience. The second thing that you might want to do with that published content of yours is to create a digital product. You can sell tips. Yes, you can sell tools. Yes, you can sell tutorials for a profit. Remember, I told you at the very beginning, we're taking you all the way to the bank, friend. All the way to the bank. And then the third thing that you can do with the 3 T's of content is to create content for your customer support system as a part of your customer service. Remember, we're not just creating content to create content, sis. We're creating content to grow our creator business. And the 3 T's of content is a surefire way to get there. You have your tips, you have your tools, and you have your tutorials. And now that you know what they are, remember, you have to decide, what do you want to do with those? I just shared with you on screen the work that you can do with your 3 T's of content along with us in the Boss Lady community. You do not have to do this work alone. We can do this work together, side by side in the Boss Lady community. You have the opportunity to join the Boss Lady community with the 7-day all access pass, and we can get your 3 T's of content in motion. You'll have access to the entire business resource vault where the tips, tools, and tutorial templates are right there ready for you to use. And that's not all. We have Monday Motivation, Tuesday Touch Point, Wealth Wednesday, Thankful Thursday, Fix It Friday. We have weekly check-ins on Thursdays. I'm never gonna stop creating ways for you to succeed in life and in business. I am so super proud of you. Now, you know the 3 T's of content, but getting that content off the ground, actually creating that content may be a challenge for you. I got you covered on that, sis. Click this link to access the video on the 3 steps to plan out your content. Now that you know the 3 types of content, it's time to start writing that content out. But writing can sometimes be challenging, especially when you don't know where to start. This video is going to show you the exact 3 steps to get it done. I am so super proud of you. You got this because I got you. It's Angela here. And until next time, always be creating. Bye for now.